Dear Mr. President, Mr. Dean, Mr. Vice Dean, professors, our beloved program administrators, dear families and friends and fellow graduates. It's a great honor to represent the international graduates of this special year. Every one of my fellow graduates has a great story behind them and a special experience. Please allow me to share a part of my story as an example of such stories and experiences. 3 years ago, I didn't know the city of Wels, or should I say Wels as I first pronounced it. I didn't know the state of our Austria, or probably any other states of Austria other than Vienna maybe. I didn't know a word of German, and I certainly didn't know that one word, like oida, could have so many meanings. Before I come here, I had been accepted in other graduate programs. A PhD in the University of Kansas in the United States, a robotics master's degree in New York University, and 2 master's programs in Germany, in Islingen and Würzburg universities. Some of my friends, they claimed me after they knew of the other possibilities that I had. And to be honest, at the beginning, I was not sure I made the correct decision myself. But after 3 months of the start of the program, only 3 months, and with the help of our professors and program administrator, I was able to land a job at PRP Robotics, where I was developing test rigs for aircraft engines. That is when I became certain that I did the absolutely right decision. It was the clever design of the program that made me feel that it was tailored for me. It was the brilliant idea to designate time and ECT grades for part-time work alongside the study that made so much sense to me and yet was unprecedented elsewhere. It was the applicability of what we learn and its direct connection with industry and the real-world business that determined my final decision. Now, please allow me to share my perspective on this last point of study applicability and why I find the University of Applied Science a very great and special idea. I was born in a small village in Giza in Egypt, and I used to pass by the Great Pyramids on my way to school and wonder. It seemed to me like time was marching backwards for us. Our past is more advanced than our present. Our ancestors are more organized and civilized than we currently are. In my home village at that time, kidney failure was spreading at an alarming rate. And we were losing people every year, including a relative of mine. Charity organizations and good-hearted men donated to establish a hemodialysis unit to treat the disease, but the numbers didn't go down nonetheless. Meanwhile, I had a school visit to a museum, and I saw the pharaohs' bodies preserved for thousands of years. We certainly have more knowledge than the pharaohs had. In this age of digital revolution, virtually any piece of information is fingertips away from an ordinary man. And we're certainly much more connected than ever. But there seems to be a missing link. Is it really the abundance of knowledge? Is it really about the abundance of knowledge? The great German poet Goethe has a great quote that says, "Es ist nicht genug zu wissen, man muss auch anwenden. Es ist nicht genug zu wollen, man muss auch tun." It's not enough to know, one must also apply. And it's not enough to want, one must also do. Here comes the missing link. applied knowledge. That's the key word. My father, who studied chemical engineering, knew that the reason for the spreading disease in the village lied in the quality of water that we were supplied with. The fortunate families, they had water filters installed in their homes. But then my father had this simple idea. Instead of donating to cure the symptom, why don't we use the same fund to address the cause of the problem and invest in a water treatment plant? I'm happy to report that after 10 years and 5 such plants, we haven't recorded any kidney failure cases in the last year. And God only knows how many lives were saved. I'm not mentioning this to brag about my father, although I'm very proud of him. I'm mentioning this to claim that although progressive scientific and technological advances and research is essential, it is really the application-oriented mindset that makes the difference and saves lives. My father was not the only educated person in the village. He merely had a bachelor degree, and there were others who had master's and PhD degrees. But he was probably the only one who adapted his knowledge to solve a real-world problem. The science behind the pyramids is lost. Only the application still stands today as a testimony for that knowledge. This is why I'm really proud to be a graduate of the University of Applied Science, Upper Austria. Now, this speech can never be complete without mentioning the phenomenon that affected all of our lives in the last period. No, I'm talking about Corona, of course. Due to COVID. This was like the magic phrase that apparently justifies anything that comes afterwards. However, I'm seriously impressed and beyond grateful to our university and all the staff, the professors, and the administration, and all the workers who seriously worked really hard to handle this crisis perfectly. Please join me in giving them a round of applause for their effort with us during these years. They made sure we get our full experience and support despite the odds. In no time, we shifted to online mode and the study was hardly affected. We still held interactive virtual group work and kept our friendship alive. In February this year, in Valentine's Day specifically, I had my wedding party in Egypt. 6 Austrian friends flew all the way from here to attend the wedding party in Egypt. Talk to me about making good friends. I realized that the friendships and memories I made here are going to stay with me forever. An important element that is helping me more and more call Upper Austria home. I hope this speech is a testimony to the change that is happening in Upper Austria and the international orientation of its universities and companies. I believe if the leaders of the city and the state continue to support this endeavor, Upper Austria will become one of the hotspots for science, technology, research, and business in the whole of Europe more than it already is. And the people will know the name before they come here. Thank you very much.